Welcome back to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex and today we're going to be taking a look at Sludge Life on the Nintendo Switch, by far the strangest game I've played in 2021, but is it worth your time and what exactly is it basically all about? Well, not that I'm entirely sure honestly, but hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and let's get started. So story, and I'm using the term story here very loosely, would be better described as an experience, something that almost washes over you and you kind of walk away with whatever it is you kind of took from it, I guess. Its central theme, you are basically a spray paint artist, tag a ghost, up and coming in this world. That's really all the game gives you. Explore this small open world, meet the locals and get all sorts of kind of different vibes, from those similar to you to those that are more than a little weird and bitter. It all has this almost dystopian vibe to it, if MTV had almost got a hold of it first and added just an exceptional level of drugs. You can't question, honestly, it's absolutely unique. The game definitely has some statements in as well, which I won't mention or spoil, but I'm sure I got some of them and probably missed others as well, and no doubt your kind of own understanding of these small moments of dialogue and visual clues will give you kind of your own takeaway. It won't be for everyone though, it's absolutely not a linear game in any way basically, outside of find and tag 100 locations. What I did find though in its kind of, I guess, story though, I did enjoy. So while I normally save graphics for, later in the video, it's worth noting here quickly that there's two camera options. One with a VHS filter, which will cover most of this video today, but this can be turned off and the game takes on this appearance. So gameplay on the controls themselves, simple enough, like you've got movement, jump and duck, that kind of makes up the core skill set, and then you'll be able to tag locations as you progress, and that tends to rely on some platforming, and you can interact with a few minor objects in the world as well. Outside of this though, you'll find 4 items you can use. I don't want to spoil what they are, as they are kind of core to the experience, but the first one you do come across, that is a camera. This allows you to see, tag locations from afar. While the game's central theme then is that of tagging, it's not actually necessary. In fact, you could easily see those end credits roll without doing most of them. Myself, I only had 32 of the 100 in this world when that closure came. That's honestly really it for core mechanics, so the rest of the game is all about looking in every corner of this world and uncovering its secrets, talking to the locals, and then unravelling a few of the game's and characters' almost minor story moments. Its story then comes with a sense of humour that's tonally just all over the place, from dark and dry to almost slapstick and even toilet based, but it's also kind of reflected in the minor interactions that you can have in this world, like there's a platform that literally catapults you to your death. This game though isn't out to force you to do anything. You take it at your own pace, you do what you want to do. The average completion in fact is right around an hour and a half. I unintentionally saw the credits roll in right around an hour after I stumbled upon a secret that allowed me access to a few more, let's say, off-limits locations. Outside of this though, go take photos, find the secrets, uncover the occasional collectible, and yeah, I want to see what takeaways everybody comes away with, because I'm really curious to hear. Problems wise then, I would say I'd mess with the settings. The camera's pacing and the movement is extremely fast, so I kind of had to dial it back just a little bit. It took a little bit of finesse if anything. Likewise, climbing is automatic and it's not always as responsive as you would like it to be. Also, while you can interact with some items like fast travel locations and the occasional kind of collectible, I wish there was more in here. I see opportunity, but 90% of this one is kind of a situation of, it can be looked at but it cannot be touched. Overall though, for gameplay, I ended up jumping back in after those credits. I went for some more tags and I ended right around, I'd say, 50 out of 100. Will I go back now for 100% completion? I'm not honestly sure. I would solely kind of recommend this one for the gameplay. It's the world and its cast. That's what has me intrigued, and I think in that sense, if that sounds like something you would like, a little bit more off the wall, this is going to be well worth a look. So graphically, as I mentioned, 2 options. We've got VHS filter on or off. I did about half in both and no real difference for me personally. I could honestly play it either way. It's whether you can handle that softer focus and blur with the VHS on. The world itself though is incredible. Yes, it is old school and far from modern in its design, so to speak, but it has a ton of personality and creativity on display. From, the locals to the traversable landscape, it kind of just changes so quickly from moment to moment. The colour palette then is super vibrant, and the menus especially are just a highlight. It's treated like a laptop, you know, pop-ups and all, and you can navigate the menu with a suitably slow cursor on screen. A highlight for me though was actually screensavers in these moments. You leave the game sitting there just for a little while and this acid trip will eventually just take over your screen. Any issues with this game? Probably the odd bit of popping here and there. There's for sure some like stutters in performance occasionally, and then one thing I would have personally liked to have seen, just maybe a little more animation from these locals, from the population. They kind of all stand still. Their personalities are so out there though, so weird. It could lead to a ton of potential on their kind of animation front as well. Sadly though, as I said, where you see them at the beginning of the game is where they will be at the end as well. Audio finally, and this is a weird one. It's got some sound effects and almost an alien language for those small dialogue text moments, but then it can fall near silent. The game's use of music is definitely unique. Taggers, those you can relate to, they have boomboxes, and it's all built around the idea of, you know, your location relative to the sound source. There's some other locations with music as well, but I wish it had a little bit more going on in some moments, as it is instantly noticeable in audio, you know, when nothing is there. Fortunately though, when there is music, it is great stuff, as it not only uses some decent kind of stylistic beats, probably closely resembling that of hip-hop, but even at points it builds in vocals, and it definitely captures the sense of the style this game is so eagerly chasing. On the end credits as well, you can even listen to a few of the tracks standalone. This is where it jumped out to me just how good it is. So overall, Sludge Life, it will not be for everyone. In fact, honestly, for most, it probably won't be for you. It's not action-packed. Instead, it's kind of fast-paced exploration with some minor platforming baked in, but you should come here for its world and its characters that are essentially a trip manifested. That's what kept me coming back, and when I did push on with, you know, the 100 tags, it was in the hope the game would actually reward me with just a little more insight into this cast and location. Coming here solely for gameplay is hard to recommend, honestly, mainly because there's not really a whole lot to it. That said though, if you want something unique and strange, something that will have its fans and haters, something that's going to make you think just a little bit, and something that will challenge you definitely to try and find kind of the meaning in the madness, this is going to be the game for you. Just be warned again, potentially it can be very short, but it feels honestly just right. But just don't come here looking exactly for those end credits. For me, I saw them, I jumped right back in, picking up where I left off. A good 7 out of 10 from me today, though I wish the world again had a little more to interact with, and there's a few design quirks here and there, but I can also see why there's currently so much conversation around this one. It's not purely because it's simply weird, there's actually something more here that kind of hooks into you, and yeah, I definitely keep on thinking about it long after I've put it down. Will you be adding this one to the collection, or have you already? If you have, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Like I said, I'm really curious to hear everyone's thoughts on it. Then a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the video description down below. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.